Welcome to Grow Your Wealth, the podcast where scaling a successful brand and your wellness go hand in hand. I'm Rena Goodwin, founder and CEO of Factor PR, a top beauty, health, and wellness PR studio, and I'm here to help you work smarter, not harder. Each week, we'll talk branding, marketing, and business growth alongside real, practical insights from trailblazers who are building businesses without the burnout. If you're ready to grow your brand, protect your energy, and design a life you love, you are in the right place. Let's grow. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Grow Your Wealth podcast. If you listened to last week's episode, you know we kicked off a conversation around PR that I think is more relevant right now than ever. We talked about how PR is having a major moment in growing businesses, especially with the rise of AI and how people are actually discovering brands today. We talked about why earned media is no longer a nice to have, but really a core, essential part of how we build brand authority and get found and recommended. And of course, we also walked through some of the biggest questions that we get asked here at Factor PR from prospective clients as well as new clients. And I wanted to tackle some of those questions here for you today, like how PR actually grows your business, when you can start seeing results, and what we're really measuring behind the scenes. So if you didn't listen to part one yet, I would definitely go back and start there because it really lays the foundation for some of the things that we're going to talk about here today. And today I want to take this just a layer deeper because this is where we get into some of these nuances about PR, the things that don't always get asked directly, but absolutely do impact your results. So the first question that we're going to tackle here today is, how does national media coverage actually help my local business? This one comes up all the time, especially here at Factor when we work with businesses that have a brick and mortar establishment. So med spas, derm practices, local wellness practices like gyms and fitness centers. And on the surface, I understand how national and local can seem like a little bit of a disconnect. If your business is local, while national media and national attention is lovely, how is that going to bring in people through the door? But here's what I want us to think about, okay? You're not trying to just be known locally. We're trying to be chosen locally. And these are two very different things because when someone is deciding where to go in their community, especially if you're the type of business where it's not just like a walk-in, like people are making appointments and things like that, and they tend to stick with you, who you trust, who you decide to spend your money with is more than just about proximity. They're looking to make a confident decision. National media gives you that instantly. It is borrowed authority. It tells your audience, my goodness, if this doctor or personal trainer or nutritionist is being featured here, they must be credible. And that changes behavior. People inquire faster. They question less. In fact, they come to you like already convinced. It's just like, when can I sign up? Which we love. And they're more willing to invest, right? There's another piece that a lot of people also don't realize as well, too, is that local media today is actually much more limited than it used to be. There are just honestly fewer organic opportunities. A lot of it, especially in print and broadcast, is pay to play as well, too. I always remind people, like, what does news actually stand for? Some people don't know this. News stands for noteworthy events, weather, and sports. And so what the local news is typically covering are those things. So if you don't have a noteworthy event, you're not the weather, obviously, and you're not a sports team. We have to try a lot harder to get covered. And unfortunately, with the way that advertising is going for a lot of these local media networks, they have to rely on payment and commissions through other channels, and that's going to be mostly pay to play. So if you're relying on local media exclusively to be able to build your brand to a local audience, you're actually capping your growth. There's also just fewer opportunities in general. Okay. So if you're a dermatology practice, for example, I mean, how many noteworthy events are you going to have throughout the year? Maybe one, maybe two, maybe three maximum. And then when you think about some of those more timely lifestyle stories, such as like Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and you want to be featured for that. Okay, you and everybody else, right? Every other business like yours in your market. So there's only so many news stations. There's only so many news outlets in a local market. And that's also going to cap your growth as well, too. When we look national, now we have hundreds of opportunities to pitch our story and get featured nationally as well, too. So national media, again, really, really elevates your authority. With that, we bring it back into our local market, right? Because we can use national recognition on your website, in your consultations, in your email marketing, on your social media. You let it show up everywhere that your customer is making a decision. So that's how it works. In particular, works the best when others in your market haven't caught on to this yet too, right? So one local Meta ads campaign that we recently ran for one of our cosmetic surgery providers was that she is the most nationally recognized in her region. And we include like all the logos that she's been seen in. Nobody else, no other cosmetic surgeon, no other plastic surgeon in her market can lay claim to that. We talked a lot on this podcast about positioning in category of one. One of the ways that you can become a category of one is to be recognized in places that no one else in your industry or your market has been recognized in too. So think about that as well. Hi, friends. I want to tell you about our new and improved authority accelerator from Factor PR called RealFluence. RealFluence is the only membership that helps beauty and wellness founders grow their reputation and authority to attract new customers without endless discounting, advertising, or going viral. Inside, you'll learn how to get recognized for your product or your expertise, partner with other founders, and become the name people trust and talk about, all with the guidance and community to support you every step of the way. Remember, you can't buy authority. You have to earn it. And RealFluence is here to help. Visit therealfluence.com to get started. Okay, question number 2. Something that I see a lot with highly specialized experts is, do I have to say yes to opportunities that aren't exactly what I want to be known for? Whew, okay, I said it. This is a question that comes up often at Factor PR because for our incredible, credible experts at Factor, and I'm talking about those that have put in the work, right? They have gotten the PhDs, they've gotten they've gone to medical school, they've done the residencies, they've opened a private practice, they've really, really done their due diligence and have really carved out a name for themselves or want to carve out the name for themselves. They oftentimes will say, I only want to talk about this one hyper specific thing that I want to talk about, which is my hyper specific expertise, which is awesome. Okay, it's awesome. You can do that in public relations, but it's not always the most feasible place to start. Because if you only want to talk about the one and only highest level service that you do, the most advanced thing that you do, and that anything outside of that feels beneath you, you're not meeting the media where they're at. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say you are a plastic surgeon who only wants to talk about surgery, doesn't want to talk or comment on injectables or skincare or celebrities or trends. And I totally get that, right? Like I said, you've worked hard to build your expertise. You want to be known for the highest level of what you do. Where I come in is to help you do that, but also explain the reality is that we don't build authority by waiting for the perfect opportunity. You build it through consistent visibility. There's actually a psychological concept called the mere exposure effect, which basically says that the more people see you, the more they trust you, even if each individual moment feels small. So an article about Botox, a trend story, a quick expert quote, it's not diluting your brand. It's the steps that we take to build your brand. It's building familiarity. It's building relationships with key writers, and it's putting your name into circulation, right? We talked in the last episode about AI discovery. AI discovery rewards recency. So I would much rather align a topic with my client's expertise than completely remove the topic off the table if it's going to threaten the results when it comes to AI discovery and so forth for that client, right? Over time, this is what leads us to the bigger features too, the deeper stories, right? Like if you're going to ask a journalist to write a thoughtful, big, deep story about a client, usually I got to meet them in the middle along the way. This is how relationships work. Like, hey, I worked with you. I came in here for you. Dr. So-and-so was able to get you the answers that you needed on this story about supplements. Now I'd love to talk to you about her supplements, or something like that, right? So these are the stories that we want. It's just not always direct. Even with a PR agency like mine that is hyper industry focused, we have the relationships, but what we don't have is the experience with your brand. We haven't laid the foundation. We have not built the relationships between the media and you on your behalf as well, too. So we do have to do our due diligence as well and ladder up to some of these bigger stories. So instead of asking like, oh, is this the perfect opportunity for me? Ask, is this moving me forward in the right direction? Because again, that progress, it does compound, and waiting for perfect usually just keeps us invisible longer. Okay. Last question that we're going to answer here today is, what is the best way to work with influencers? And I'm going to say this very clearly here. Influencer marketing without a strategy is just expensive content creation. Okay. I think this is the disconnect and why when I've chatted with so many brands, they feel like they've gotten burned by influencers. But hear me out here. Okay. Influencer marketing, it can absolutely grow your reach, but reach alone does not equal revenue. Can't tell you how many brands I've talked to who have said, oh, we did this big influencer campaign and it drove zero ROI. And when we dig into it, they were expecting the influencers to do the selling. But that's not really their role. Influencers create visibility and content and awareness. But most consumers, again, need more than one touch point before they make a decision. So again, we talked about the rule of 7. 7 or more interactions on average is what it takes before someone takes action. So if that influencer content lives once on their page, you're not working with them ongoingly, that content disappears, you're not building momentum. You are creating a moment, a fleeting moment. And fleeting moments don't pay the bills. Momentum does. So the smartest brands don't just post and hope. They leverage. They take that content, they use it everywhere on their website, in their ads, in their email, their sales process. They use it as social proof. They put it anywhere where they can convert a customer. And this is actually where PR and influencer strategy overlap beautifully, because just like with PR, the real value isn't just the placement. It's what we do with that placement. It's the leverage. So if you want to make your influencer marketing work, you have to treat it like a strategy, and don't just stop with getting the content and getting the content shared. Ask yourself, do we have the usage rights? If not, ask for them. Repurpose that content. Are you repurposing it? Are you extending its life? Are you extending the life of your investment, right? Are you using the content? Are you using the influencer to actually influence decisions? Because that's where the revenue comes in. Okay. I know we talked about a lot here today. We just scratched the surface. Again, as an FAQ episode, we will definitely go deeper on some of these questions in future episodes here on the Grow Your Wealth podcast. If this got you thinking too a little bit differently about your visibility or your strategy or how you're showing up, good. That was the goal. And if you are ready to build authority that compounds over time, you know where to find me. You can head over to growyourwealthpodcast.com or factorpr.com. And if you like these Q&A episodes that I know are short and sweet, you can follow me on Instagram at Rena S. Goodwin and send me a DM with your PR and brand strategy question, and I might just answer it on a future episode here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this was helpful, please share it with a friend, leave us a rating and review, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode deposited some useful advice and insights to help you grow your wealth. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future conversations. You can find more resources, episode details, and updates at growyourwealthpodcast.com. And let's keep the conversation going on Instagram. Follow me at Grow Your Wealth Podcast. I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, or takeaway from today's show. Until next time, remember, burnout is optional. Take care, and I'll see you next week.